Now, let's go to video number 2. So, if you have watched the video number 1, we have talked about a transaction and then the effects on the A is equal to L plus C, or the transaction analysis, and we make journal entries on all the possible transactions for basic accounting or fundamentals of accounting. And we are now on transaction number 13. Okay? So on transaction number 13, the company purchased a machinery worth 50,000 on account. The estimated useful life of the machinery is 5 years with a salvage value of 2,500. So actually this estimated useful life and salvage value will just play an important role if ever we're talking about depreciation already. But if ever you will see some transactions like this, you just have to entry first the purchase transaction. So a machinery worth 50,000 was purchased on account. So what will be the entry? It is simple. You just have to first analyze what will happen to the asset. Of course, since we're talking about purchasing a machinery, we have to debit or increase the asset by that amount, the machinery. And then since it's purchased on account, we have to recognize that also as a liability to third parties or your suppliers. That's it. So you just have to debit machinery. If machinery is in the list of the chart of accounts, so you have 50,000. And then credit accounts payable. $50,000. Now let's go to the next. So related to number 13, depreciation expense is to be recorded using straight line method of depreciation. So first and foremost, before the entry, you just have to compute first. So how do you compute the depreciation expense? So first, you have to consider the amount, the total amount, the historical cost, which is the 50,000. That's in number 13. So we are going to refer to number 13 because it is expressly said here related to number 13. So compute. So we have historical cost of 50,000. So that meant this 50,000 has a capacity of being zeroed out after the useful life. In here we have a useful life of 5 years. So meaning after 5 years, it will not be unusable. Okay? So the life of this machinery is only 5 years. Okay? How about the salvage value, sir? The salvage value is after it is unusable, actually it can still be sold, or proceeds or money can still be realized at 2.5. So if ever this is a specialized machinery with parts that are still usable even after 5 years, so you can sell it in the junk shop or anywhere for 2.5. So that's salvage value. So first off, you have to find the depreciable amount. So how do you do that? Historical cost of 2005, historical cost of 50,000 minus the salvage value of 2,500, and that would be equals 47,500. So what is the meaning again of the depreciable amount? That is the amount that is possible to decrease, the decrease that might happen after 5 years. Okay, so that's the depreciable amount. Because at the very start it's 50,000, but at the end of the 5 years it's only 2.5, right? So that meant within 5 years, within the useful life, the machinery will decrease up to 47,500. That's the depreciable amount. Okay, the maximum decrease that will happen to a non-current asset after the useful life. Again, I like that. The maximum decrease that will happen to the value of the non-current asset over the useful life. Okay? Why maximum? Because it could not go further than 47,500 because after 5 years, it should have a value of 25. Okay? I hope that's clear. And then, the 47,500 is the total decrease after the useful life, right? So, if you wanted to get the depreciation per year, you divide it by the useful life, which is 5 years. Okay? So, let's use the calculator. 47,500 divided by 5. I think I have to remember that. Let me repeat that again. The depreciable amount is the maximum decrease that will happen to the non-current asset after the useful life. Okay? So that's 9,500 here. 47,500 divided by 5 years is 9,500. Yeah. It's 9,500. But then again, according to this number, the depreciation that is to be recognized is only for 5 months. So we have to get the depreciation for 5 months. So how are you going to do that? Times 5 for the 5 months divided by 12 months. That's what you're going to do. So 9,500 divided by 9,500 times 5 divided by 12. So 3958.33. So we have 3958.33. So after computation, this is now the time that you are going to analyze the A is equal to L plus C. What happened? Okay? So let's copy and let's just revise. So this will happen. The assets will be decreased by 3,958.33 because after 5 months there is already wear and tear of that machinery. So this is a decrease on the assets, specifically the machinery. And of course, we also have on the capital decrease 3,958.33. Okay? Because of the expense. And what particular expense? That's depreciation expense. So, debit, depreciation expense. So, meaning guys, expense is usually debit. And if ever you see yourself making an entry about expense and it is in the credit, you are very much sure that is 90%, let's say 90% sure that you are wrong. Okay? Because if expenses and withdrawals should always be on the debit. Most of the time, let's say most of the time, they should be on the debit side. So 39.33 depreciation expense. And how about the credit? The credit should have been machinery. Okay? Because this is related to machinery. But then again, if we are going to deduct immediately from the machinery 50,000 minus 3958.33, we are going to fail to maintain the original amount of that machinery. Okay? So that is why instead of crediting it to machinery, it will be credited to a certain contra asset account, which is what do we call as accumulated depreciation. Which is 3958.33. Okay? But still, remember this. The accumulated depreciation account is always beside the machinery account. Okay? They're always beside. They are listed together. Okay? And actually, if you're going to be asked, what is the book value of the machinery? That is still 50,000 minus the accumulated depreciation of 3958.33. The substance was not changed. However, the machinery gross account or gross amount is maintained. Okay? Again, this is supposed to be credit machinery because this is the wear and tear of the machinery. However, we have to preserve the original cost of the machinery, which is why we just made another, or the companies made another or the authors made, or someone made another account, the contra asset account, accumulated depreciation. Okay? So this is a contra asset, and it means the normal balance of these types of accounts is credit as a contra asset. Okay? So that's number 14. That's the entry. Number 15. The company paid advance rent to landlord A for 6 months, 10,000 per month. This was recorded using asset method. Why is this asset method? Actually, if you are going to pay an advance rent to a landlord and you are not occupying the space still, that is to be considered first as an asset because you have not exhausted the benefit of the payment. So, asset method is just like that. You have to recognize your advance payment as an asset first, especially if you did not occupy the space that you are renting yet. Okay? So, what will happen? Let's copy. What will happen is an exchange in asset. Why exchange in asset? Of course, when you pay, there will be a decrease in cash, 10,000. But another asset will emerge. That is what we call as a deferred expense account, prepaid rent. Why asset again? It is still an asset, especially if you did not yet exhaust the benefits of the payment. And paying advance rent, that meant you have not occupied the space yet. Okay? So actually that is just the transaction analysis for number 15. So your entry will be an asset, prepaid rent, or advance rent, depending on what is used by the company in their chart of accounts. And then credit, cash, 10,000. That's for number 15. Okay? Now, let's go to the adjustment at the end. Related to number 15, rent expense is to be computed and recorded already. Although we do not know how many months are we talking about. Rent expense for example, let's put for 2 months. Is to be computed and recorded already. So what will happen? So if, oh no, the company paid advance rent to landlord A 6 months, 10,000 per month. So that means this should be 60,000. So you have to be very careful in reading. Okay? Yeah. Now, let's go for number 16. Related to number 15, rent expense for 2 months is to be computed and recorded already. So, what will happen? So, for 2 months, that is 20,000. Because according to number 15, the rent is 10,000 per month. So, what will happen? Your prepaid rent, which is originally 60,000, will be decreased already by 20,000. So this decrease in asset is due to the decrease of the prepaid rent. And then, the balancing figure is on the capital by the reason of expense. So, what will happen? So, you have to debit the rent expense. $20,000. And then, instead of crediting cash, we credit prepaid rent. 20,000. So, meaning, you have already adjusted your prepaid rent. So, the expired is 20,000. The 40,000 is still prepaid. Okay? You still have to consume the 40,000. So, that's it for number 16. Now, we have the company paid in advance rent for 1 year, 6,000 per month to landlord B. So how much is that? 6,000 times 12. 72,000. So 72,000 was paid to landlord B. So this was recorded using expense method. In here, you will see that the deferred expenses are actually accounted for using two methods, the asset and the expense method. So in the number 17, we have the expense method, which states that if you are going to pay something, advance rent like this one, you have to debit it immediately to expense. You have to recognize it immediately as an expense instead of an asset. Okay? So the entries will not be the same, but the substance will still be the same. So let's have that. Example, if you're using expense method, what will happen is that you will pay for, how much was that? It's 72,000. You will pay for 72,000. So that is a decrease in asset. Okay? That's a decrease in asset. And specifically for cash. There will be no asset that will be recognized. There is no exchange in asset. Not like here. There is credit cash. There is cash lost as an asset. But there is another asset that emerged. The prepaid rent. Okay? In here, that's not the case. So you have decrease 72,000 cash, and then the partner will be immediately on the capital side 72,000. It is immediately recognized as an expense. So what will be the entry? Instead of debit prepaid rent, it will become rent expense for the total amount immediately. But don't you worry, you are still going to make an adjusting entry. Just like on the number 15, there is an adjusting entry on number 16. This number 17 also has an adjusting entry. So what will happen? We are now on number 18. Related to number 17, rent expense is to be finalized and prepaid rent is to be established. So, for example, let's put another. This is lacking actually, right? So, let's put a sentence. 3 months has already passed. Okay. So that meant you have to make the rent expense for 3 months only, not for the whole 1 year. It's only for 3 months because 3 months has only passed, and that is the time that you have consumed out of the 12 months. Okay? So that is the meaning of that one. So what will happen? Instead of saying that this is correct, rent expense is correct, 72,000 here in the capital side, you have to adjust the capital. You'll have to say, you have to add back. Since we're talking about 6,000 per month, that means 3 months is for 18,000. So that should be the proper rent expense. But you have recognized 72. So you have to add back 54. So on the capital side, you have to imagine there should be an increase of 52,000 to counter the negative 72. So that the negative 72, if it will be countered by positive 52, it will become negative 18,000. And again, that 18,000 is actually the rent that you have consumed only, because 6,000 times 3 months is 18,000. Okay, so that's what will happen on your analysis. And also, you have to add also on the assets 52,000. Okay? Because you have to establish the prepaid rent, and prepaid rent is an asset. Okay? So what will happen now? So you have to establish the prepaid rent. Because actually, 54,000 was not yet used. You only used 3 months or 18,000. Prepaid rent, 54,000, and then credit, rent expense. You have to credit it by 54,000. Because again, you cannot claim rent expense at 72,000 because you only consumed 3 months. Okay? So you have to deduct from the rent expense, and the deduction is 54,000. So that is number 18. Now let's go to number 19. The company received advanced payments from customers of 240,000. This was recorded using liability method. So when you receive advanced cash payments from customers as a business, we're going to treat that one as a liability actually. So liability method is all about that. Why? When you receive advanced cash and you did not yet give any services, you did not give anything yet, like goods or services, then that meant that is your liability or your obligation. So that is not an income yet. You recognize income only if you earned it. Okay? That's accrual, correct? So what will happen? What will happen in number 19 is basically you have to enjoy because you have received 240,000 on the asset. Okay? However, you have to recognize it as a liability. You have to perform services. You have to deliver goods if ever you're selling goods. Okay? So, the entry will be, there's no expense. There is no entry on the capital. A is equal to L plus C is still balanced. So, the debit is cash. $240,000. And then the credit would be a liability. But normally, it is in the chart of accounts as unearned revenues. So, unearned revenues are actually liabilities. And that is from the name itself. It's a revenue, but you still have to earn it. Okay? So, credit 240,000. That's it for number 19. Okay? Now, let's go to number 20. Related to number 19, half of the revenues is to be computed and recorded already. So that meant on the 240,000, one half is already earned. That's the meaning of that in number 20. So that's 120,000, the half of this one. Okay? So what will happen? You have on the assets, liabilities, and capital, you have no entry on the assets. However, on your liability, your unearned revenue will be deducted by 120,000. Why? Because it's already earned. So the balancing figure is on the capital. You have to add because of revenues. Because you have already earned it, right? So what will happen? The liabilities, unearned service revenues, unearned revenues will be debited. Because liabilities, when they are decreased, they are debited. Okay? So you have to debit it, 120,000. However, when we talk about revenues, we have to credit them. Because again, they will contribute to the capital. The higher the revenues, the higher the capital. They are added. So if the capital has a credit balance, revenues also has a credit balance. Okay? So that's it for number 20. Okay? Now let's go to number 21. The company received advance payments from another set of customers worth 120,000. However, this was recorded using revenue method. So, this is the opposite of the liability method, whereby we recognize any advance payments from the customers as liability because it's actually a liability. In here, we recognize them immediately as revenues. So, actually, the revenue method is used whenever you are sure that even if the customer is going to pay in advance, for a short period of time, you will earn it. So it's better to recognize them immediately as revenues instead of recognizing them first as liabilities, and after 10 days, for example, you have earned it, you are going to make again a secondary entry, which is to recognize the earned revenues. That is tedious, right? So revenue method is used. Even if you have not yet earned it, as long as you are very confident that you will earn it in a very short period of time, you have to make it revenues already immediately so that you will not adjust anymore. Okay? In the number 19 and number 20, you can see there is an original entry and there is an adjustment still. Okay? So it's tedious. Especially again, I will repeat that always, especially if the revenues are to be earned within a short period of time only. Okay? So what will be the entry? The entry will become versus number 19. You will have to debit 120,000 because you receive cash, right? But you're not going to consider it as a liability. You're going to consider that immediately as revenues. So it will affect the capital. Okay? And you debit cash 120,000 and then credit revenues immediately 120,000. Okay? Now, related to number 21, only 25% of the revenues was earned and at the end of the period. So, what is 25% of 120? It's 30,000. So, this is already wrong because you recognized immediately revenues at 120. But you have to correct it here in number 22 as an adjustment. So, what will happen? Let's copy this. What will happen is that there will be no entry on the assets already because we have already recognized the cash received from customers. Okay? What will happen is that the capital or the revenues that you have recognized will be deducted. Okay? How much will be deducted? Since 30,000 is the only ones earned, you have to deduct 90,000 from the revenues. Okay? Because it is really not true that your revenues is 100%, which is 120,000. Your revenue is only 30,000. That's 25% according to this particular transaction. Okay? So if that is 120 here and then minus 90, you recognize 30. So you have corrected already the revenues that was recorded. Okay? How about the, what do we call this? The other entry, because we only have one entry here, so it will not be balanced. So what will happen is, you have to recognize unearned revenue worth 90,000. Because it's the truth. On the 120,000, only 30,000 was earned. 90,000 is still unearned. So 90,000 should be considered as a liability in the form of unearned revenues. So what will be the entry? So you have to debit revenues, because when you wanted to deduct the revenues, you have to debit it, because the normal balance of the revenues is again credit. Okay, so you have to deduct it, 90,000, and then credit unearned revenues 90,000. So that is the entry. Now, when we compare it with number 19 and number 20, number 19, you recognize it as a liability first, okay? And afterwards, in the number 20, you recognize the earned. And according to here, half of the revenues has been earned. So, liability, and then the earned. That's on number 19 and number 20. Compared to number 21 and number 22, you recognize immediately everything as revenues. But on the number 22, you recognize the unearned. Liability, earned, revenues, unearned on the adjustment. So you have to what do we call this? Remember that. Okay? So I'm gonna cut this video again short to make the video shorter. Okay, to make the video short and not so boring. So we are going to continue number 23 to 58 in the next episodes. So you're welcome to play and replay this in order to master. Actually, if you can already understand this and you practice more, sometimes you won't need to put the effects on the A is equal to L plus C. You immediately put the journal entry. Okay? So that is our goal, to make you like that. You see the transaction, you make the journal entry right away. So that's it. If you learn, please click like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and share this to those who need it. Okay? See you on the next one.